Good morning, friends. I thought I would catch you up on how my weight loss journey is going. If you remember, I did a video about just how incapable I've been in trying to lose the weight that I gained when I was in Australia a few months ago, and I packed on a few pounds because I was eating too much pasta. I will link the video somewhere here. And I had told you all that I was going to lose this weight, so I thought it would be a good catch up for one of my weekend videos to let you know how this is going and how I'm doing. When I filmed my last video, I posted it about 3 weeks ago, but I started filming it about 4 weeks ago. At that time, I was 130.4 pounds, 130.4. And that's the highest I think that I've ever weighed in my life. Typically, my ideal weight is around 115 to 117 pounds. That's when I kind of seem to feel my best, my healthiest, that type of thing. So today, I'm filming this on Thursday, and this video will be posted either Saturday or Sunday. I haven't decided which day yet. And as of filming today, I am 125.6 pounds. So I've lost almost 5 pounds. Not quite, like I'm probably 0.4 pounds short, but let's call it almost 5 pounds. And I'm really happy about that. So that's in around 4 weeks. So how did I do that? Well, first of all, let me just say that I always lose more weight at the beginning of a weight loss journey, and that's normal. Typically, when people start cutting back on fatty foods or things with a lot of sugar or a lot of white starches and that type of thing, at the beginning, they tend to lose more weight. As they progress, they start losing a little bit less and less weight, and that is typically what happens to me. I typically lose a bit more weight at the front end, and then things really slow down. So because I only have about another 8 pounds or so to go, I think these last 8 pounds are going to be a little bit harder and they're going to be a little bit slower. Also, my sister and I are going away. I have a little work trip and a little girls trip all meshed into one, and we're probably going to be eating some good food and maybe having some wine. So I'll probably gain a little bit of weight back, but that's okay. I'm good with that. I just feel like I have my eating back to my regular rhythm. So what am I doing? First of all, I'm prioritizing protein. I tend to be more of a paleo girl, and what I mean by that is I tend to focus more on protein, but it doesn't mean I don't have carbs. Like I'm not keto or like super low carb. I will have things like sweet potatoes. I have lots of veggies, which essentially are a carb. I will have things like quinoa. I will have things in moderation. I will have rice. Potatoes, I will have both sweet potatoes and white potatoes. White potatoes are not bad for you. That is a myth. What is bad is, or I wouldn't even say bad, but what adds calories to white potatoes is what we tend to put on them, which is often a lot of butter, or we're roasting them with a lot of oil, or sour cream dressings and that type of thing. I tend to make my potatoes in the Instant Pot, so I'm just steaming them, and sometimes I will toast them up in the air fryer, and I'll just spritz some avocado oil spray on them. Not very much, just to let them brown a bit, and just a bit of salt. So that's how I tend to eat my white potatoes. I have a lot of lean meats, like I'll have chicken, I will have some bison, which is kind of a lean red meat, and you know, I'm an Alberta girl, so we have bison farms here, and I really enjoy bison. I will have things like ground chicken or tofu. I enjoy my tofu. I don't eat it all the time, but I enjoy eating it. I usually have it at least like once every couple of weeks. As I said, I love my sweet potatoes, my white potatoes. I enjoy green beans. I enjoy broccoli, lots of salads. I practically live on these huge salads. I love sardines. I'll have canned tuna, canned salmon, regular salmon. So I try and eat a little bit of everything. The things that I'm putting less emphasis on eating, and the only reason I say that is because I don't like to demonize any kind of food. I don't think that food is bad. What is bad is overindulging in food that tends to be empty calories to the extent where you're overeating on the amount of calories that you need to sustain a very healthy body. So the types of foods I'm avoiding are pasta and white bread, and things with a lot of sugar that, for example, candy. I haven't been buying candy, or things like chips, ultra processed foods that tend to be high in calories, very high in salt, or really high in sugar, and they don't have a lot of nutritional benefit. So those are the things that I'm avoiding. I also do not drink a lot of alcohol. I rarely drink. Part of it is like buying a bottle of wine when you're living alone and you're not a drinker. You might have one glass, or at least that's what I do. I'll have one glass and then it goes bad in my fridge. So I tend to not drink. I might have a glass of wine if someone comes over, like my sister, but that just doesn't happen all the time. So that's kind of what I've been doing on the diet side. And then on the exercise side. On the exercise side, I've been focusing on walking 5 to 6 times a week. Sometimes I actually walk 7 days a week, depending on the weather. About 3 of those walks will include running in them. So I've kind of got to a place where I'll walk for a couple of minutes and I run for around 3 minutes, and I do a combination of that. So I've been doing that. That will work off anywhere from 250 to 350 calories a day. But I don't overdo the exercise, because if I overdo it, then it makes me hungry. And if you overdo running as a woman who is in menopause, there is a tendency for your cortisol to go up, which is not a good thing for weight loss. I kind of keep my exercise moderate. I do dumbbells 2 times a week. I think strength training is very important. It's not my favorite thing, but I push myself to do it 2 times a week for 30 minutes. So I think all in all, things are going pretty well. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the progress. Most of all, what I'm happy about is that I feel like I'm kind of back in a rhythm of how I like to eat and how I like my day to go as far as health and fitness is concerned. So that is the update on the weight loss side. Thank you very much to all of you, because I've had some great suggestions, great tips, great comments. And I feel like since I've put it out there on the interwebs that I'm trying to get back to my normal weight, I feel more accountable. I feel like you guys are my virtual coaches, and I have to kind of check in on a regular basis. And so I feel more motivated to actually stick to my plan. So this whole putting it out there to the universe, it kind of sounds a little bit woo-woo, but I think it makes sense. The one thing I did want to go through in this video is some of the snacks I eat, because I think what happens often is that we have this great rhythm for good breakfast, good lunch, good dinner, and it's all healthy. But where we sabotage our weight loss is snacking. Snacking can really creep up if you think about it. So, like 10 chips, I looked on a bag of chips in the store, and 10 chips is like well over 100 calories. Honestly, who can stop at like 10 chips? I can't. I just don't have the willpower to stop at 10 chips. So snacking is a big deal. So I thought I'd go over some of the snacky snacks that I've been indulging in. When I say snacks, these are snacks that I enjoy. You may not think of them as snacks, but I do. And also, just because they're healthy, Doesn't mean that I never put any sugar in some of my snacks. Some of my snacks have a little bit of sugar. I'm just very conscious on how much I use, how much of a snack I am eating. Even if it's a healthy snack, if you eat too much of it, there's going to be a lot of calories in it. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's get started on the snack portion of this video. One of my favorite snacks is the good old boiled eggs. I put all bagel seasoning on them and it's really delicious. I know you might not think that, but it really is good. I like this snack because it's protein and it satiates hunger. If you're a little bit hungry, just have a boiled egg. The next thing are these yummy raspberry, strawberry, chocolate, and peanut butter frozen treats. I just make them in ice cubes trays. I freeze them. And then I take them out about 15 minutes before I'm going to enjoy them and let them get a tiny bit softer. So I will show you how I make them. So the way I start the raspberry treats is I mash up some raspberries. These are fresh. And I put a teeny tiny bit of sugar. I'll show you how much. Literally like this. Just a tiny, not even like, it's probably half a teaspoon, not even. And then I slice the strawberries fairly small. I'm going to put them in one of those chopper things to get them a little more mushy like the raspberries. And I do the same thing with the strawberries. I put maybe like half a teaspoon of some sugar on them. All the sugar does is that it releases the juices in the strawberries. I slice them up, I put the sugar on them, and I leave them at room temperature a few hours so that they release their juices, and then I'll be able to blend them. So I put a bunch of berries into this container. I don't really have any amounts. I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm going to make as many treats as this will allow. I don't need this to be smooth in any way, just kind of rough, but a little more liquidy than what I had with the chunks. I'm going to take an ice cube tray and I'm going to put this strawberry raspberry mixture on the bottom. And I'm just going to fill as many squares as I can. If you have some leftover raspberry strawberry mix, I will show you what to do with this later in a different snack. I am going to take some milk chocolate and I'm going to melt it in the microwave. Now, some of you may want to use dark chocolate. I can't eat dark chocolate, so the few times that I actually have a chocolate treat of any kind, I'll use milk chocolate because it's the only kind of chocolate I can really handle. I never know how much chocolate this is going to take, so I'm just going to melt a little bit and then see how it goes. If I need to melt more, I will melt more. So I'm going to spoon the chocolate on top of the mixture. You want to do this quickly so that the chocolate doesn't get hard. The next thing I do is I just drop a little bit of peanut butter on top of each of these. Now, some peanut butter is easier. Mine is a little bit less smooth, but it doesn't matter. I just want a little bit in each goodie. Peanut butter is pretty high in fat, so I don't really want too much in each of these treats. All right, I am going to gently put this in the freezer. I'm going to probably put a little bit of saran wrap on it just to cover it up, and then I'm going to let these freeze. If you're wondering why my hair looks different, it's because I'm filming this the next day. I cannot possibly eat all these snacks that I'm making in one day, so I have to spread it out over a few days. The next thing I'm going to show you is just what to do with that leftover raspberry strawberry puree from the frozen bites. All I do is I take a bit of cottage cheese, just however much you want. I stir in the strawberry raspberry mixture. And then all I do is slather it on some rice cakes and then maybe add a few chopped strawberries on the top. And that's it. It's an amazing snack. You could even put a few blackberries or blueberries on top or whatever you like. My next snack is super easy. All it is I slice up some cucumber, I take the peel off, and then I just put on my favorite tuna salad mix. Mine happens to have tuna, some apple, a little bit of pickle, some green onion and mayonnaise in it. And I add a little bit of spice with some chili flakes. And that's it. I just put that on a cucumber and I can have quite a few of these. Finally, the last snack is the underrated protein smoothie. I like kind of a chocolate peanut buttery one in the afternoon. So I take one frozen banana and put it in the bottom of my smoothie cup. I add 1 scoop of protein powder, and this one is chocolate peanut butter. It's from Diesel. This is not sponsored or anything like that. I just enjoy this brand, and it's one of the lower ones in calories as well. I will add in a few ice cubes, and finally, this time I'm putting in coconut milk. And I'm going to do about a cup. So here we go. Bottoms up. All right, so this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed some of these snack ideas. There's not that many, but there's a few. Try them out. Let me know what you think. I will see you all next week at our regular time on Tuesday. Bye.